This South Asian country is in the spotlight. Thousands of Nepalese men are fighting a distant war on behalf of Russia in Ukraine. Driven by poverty and the promise of a better future, they risk their lives to support their families back home. Hundreds of families have lost contact with their loved ones on the front lines. Those who've escaped bear the scars of a foreign war. Many others stand ready to join that war. Near a village outside Kathmandu, this family mourns the death of their loved one. Purna Bahadur was killed 3 months ago fighting on the front line in Ukraine. A fellow Nepalese soldier confirmed Bahadur's death to his wife Lilu over the phone. Every month, Lilu organizes these morning prayers for his departed soul.
When I heard the news of my husband's death, I felt like jumping from a cliff and ending my life. For weeks, I couldn't believe it. I simply refused to accept that he was gone, and even now, I sometimes feel like he might call.
But that call, she knows, will never come. Purna, a former driver, joined the Russian army to pay off his debts. He barely got 2 weeks of training before they sent him to the front line. His death has left a deep void in the family. His youngest daughter still believes that her father will return someday soon.
My little daughter has no idea, and we haven't told her. Lately, she keeps seeing his photos and asks us to call him. Sometimes she wonders why her father stopped calling us. She cries a lot.
Lilu also feels devastated. The family do not even know whether they will get his body for a proper burial. The home reminds her of Bahadur, where she has decades' worth of memories before he left for Russia.
There is such loneliness without him. I feel his absence, that's it. I miss him terribly.
Now she is burdened with a debt of 6,000 euros that Bahadur paid to the agent who facilitated his journey to Russia. Across Nepal, hundreds of Nepalese families have similar stories. Their men are either trapped in the war or confirmed dead. Others are out of contact with their families. Many of the dead are not returned home, and the bodies that are brought back are cremated like this. Among them, Suman is the lucky one who escaped the Russian army. He paid 3,000 euros to a Russian agent who helped him leave the country. Today, Suman is at this temple to thank God for saving his life in a war a world away. He suffers from nightmares and is deeply traumatized by what he experienced on the front lines in Ukraine.
Nobody cares about the dead in Russia. The life of the injured depends upon the seriousness of the wound. If treatment is possible, we rescue them. Otherwise, we were instructed to shoot the seriously injured soldiers on sight.
Such events made him change his mind about the war. After serving 3 months in the Russian army, Suman did not receive the promised salary of $2,000 a month. Since his return, he has been jobless. Desperate to find work, he is ready to work as a daily wager. He asks this shopkeeper for work, but is told there is no work for him. Disappointed, Suman goes shop to shop. But it is not a lucky day for him. Finding work is very hard. Nepal is consistently ranked as one of the poorest countries in the world. The economic and employment situation is dire. At least 5 million people work outside the country, mostly as migrant labourers. Many are willing to take risky options, like joining Russia's army as a foreign fighter. This police unit is tasked with stopping the constant flow of Nepalese men from joining the Russian forces. Police Commissioner Bhupender Khatri and his men are cracking down on recruitment agencies and brokers who profit from sending men off to the war.
These agents are persuading men to join the Russian army by promising them better opportunities.
Recently, they have arrested 20 Nepalese nationals on charges of fraud and human trafficking. They found this stash of cash, passports and illegal documents. For Commissioner Bhupender, these latest arrests have been an eye-opener. He's concerned about the role of Nepalese traffickers working abroad.
Found different layers, like in India, even in UAE, and different agents are working there at a time to provide them the facilitations, any assistance they needed. Like sometimes they fly from Kathmandu to Dubai or any other transit route, and they will get the visa from there. That kind of, interesting part we found during the investigation.
But despite police raids and mounting risks, many young men still want to go. Sonish is ready to join the Russian army. Every day he spends hours surfing TikTok videos that glamorize Nepalese soldiers in Russia. For him, joining the Russian army is a ticket to a better life. But all that he needs is to convince his reluctant mother. She is worried that he may become another casualty in Russia's war.
Your uncle was also unemployed here and then left for Russia. He is in big trouble now, and now you also want to join the Russian army. Please don't go. I know we can't support you financially. I know we are entirely vulnerable.
But Sonish does not mind taking this risk. Like others, he too is attracted to the Russian government's promise of a good salary and citizenship in return for military service.
Here I don't have any money. I thought the best option would be to go to Russia. Sometimes you need to take risks to get ahead in life. Without money, we can't do anything in this world. This is why I want to leave and join the Russian forces.
Sonish works as a part-time pickup rider in Kathmandu, earning €15 a day. With this money, he struggles to support his aging parents. Today, he is visiting this recruitment agency that sends migrant workers abroad for jobs. Sonish is hoping they might be able to help. He asks if they can help him to join the Russian army. But he is told the agency does not send people to Russia. For Sonish, it was a disappointing outcome.
Being in the Russian army pays a lot more than being a migrant worker in Qatar or Dubai. This is why people choose the Russian army and why I too want to go for it. Because of the danger out there, the recruitment agency now denies sending youth to Russia. The government has also banned going there.
But Sonish does not want to work on a construction site in Qatar. His hunt for recruitment agencies and brokers continues. Nepal has opposed Russia's invasion of Ukraine in the UN. The government is urging its citizens to not take part in the war. Nepalese former Foreign Minister Narayan Prakash Sod, who was in office until March, told DW he has been negotiating with his Russian counterpart on this issue.
I would like to express my concern about the enlistment of our citizens in the armed forces of a nation with which we lack an official pact or treaty to do so. The recruitment of our citizens implies that it happens with the knowledge of the Russian government.
Despite the efforts taken by the Nepalese government, nothing has changed. In Kathmandu, social campaigner Kritu Bandari has taken the battle to the streets. Today, she is joined by aggrieved families who demand justice for their loved ones. She is helping them prepare legal documents for the return of their men.
Do you have documents of your husband joining the Russian army? If you have, get them all printed. We need to submit them.
Today, Lilu is also joining this march. She has travelled from her village to the capital to demand the remains of her husband, Purna. This march is heading towards the Russian embassy, and they are stopped by the police. No one is willing to engage with them or accept their documents.
These families are from remote areas of Nepal. They've been struggling to appeal to the government to return their family members who joined the Russian war. They're here to demand the Russian government begin rescue operations for Nepalese.
Like Lilu, hundreds of Nepalese women are determined to fight to the end. They say their lives have been reduced to one goal, either securing the remains of their loved ones or demanding the safe return of those still fighting Russia's war in Ukraine.